Hello YouTube, it's Mike coming at you now here in New York. I just want to say I made it successfully I made it a couple months ago and I haven't made any videos recently, but that's just due to the fact that I've been busy. I've definitely been, struggling a little bit in the whole, transitioning to civilian life, but I definitely have made it. Essentially I just got up and left the island, left my home in Arizona, drove through Texas, all the way through the south and came up to New York. And I was living on the streets for about a week because my roommate and I didn't have an apartment right away. We thought we did, but by the time we got there, it was taken, and we kind of expected that to happen, etc., etc. And then, there's a long transitioning process of trying to find a job and everything else like that, and get in. And we can't start school till September, all this other stuff. So it's been really busy. But on a lighter note, I have scored a job as a bartender down here in Brooklyn, where I live now in Brooklyn. And it's been very entertaining and amusing. I did a 6-week course with Rock New York, and they were really amazing and gave me the opportunity to work at this bar, and now there I am working at this bar, and I brought some cool drinks from the West Coast and Hawaii to New York, stuff that they don't really know about out here. So it's giving me a little bit of edge over some of the other guys around here, which is really cool. First of all, I want to talk about something a little, not too different, but a little petty for some. And it's something that's been on my nerves since I've been out here. It doesn't help that, just a week ago my motorcycle was stolen outside of my job, and my roommate and I have a car, and we've been getting into parking tickets after parking tickets, just for anything and everything. And I thought maybe it's just because we're new to New York, we're just messing it up. But apparently it's not very uncommon for everybody in the world to have about $3,000 a year in tickets, And so yeah, that's what that is. And that's kind of what this video is a little bit about. Now, let me give you some background first. And for those of you in the city know already, and for those of you who aren't in the city, kind of probably might have an idea. I mean, some of it's common sense. But when it comes to parking in New York City, you got to think about it. It's like, I know I lived in LA. Parking was a bitch over there, but at least the roads were bigger, and at least you could park somewhere on the side of the road, and then wait for a while on the side of the road and park out somewhere, and eventually someone's gonna leave and you can park. Well, it doesn't really work like that here in New York because there really isn't parking lots. Now, if there is a parking lot, you're going to pay at least $8 to $20 just to get in, sometimes $30, So, there's a couple things that kind of inhibit you on the park situation out here. It wouldn't be uncommon to take 30 minutes to an hour to find a parking spot, especially when it comes to a certain time, and depending on what kind of neighborhood you're living in, the age group and whatever else that may go, there's a lot of science behind it. Well, there's a fire hydrant situation. You have to park 3 sidewalk blocks or squares away from the fire hydrant on each direction, not just one direction, but each direction. And then you also got to realize that in the neighborhoods, outside the neighborhoods, so besides the fire hydrants, there's bus stops, and the bus stops take a good chunk of that block, just because a bus is very big, and people have to get in and out or whatever else, and to stop, not to inhibit traffic or whatever, which they do anyways. But that's the idea behind it. And then you got a situation where sometimes you got a fire hydrant and you're like, okay, well there's enough space right over there so I can get in over that side, but then there's a double fire hydrant like right next to it. So it's like it takes up just that much more space, and it's just enough to get in your way. Or the other combination that you might see is a fire hydrant and then a bus stop. And so here's the bus stop, like bus stop, right? And then right on the end of where the bus stop would be, like where you normally could park, would be the fire hydrant. So it takes up even more space. So now you got like all these things. Now, there could be a lot of things that improve, like such as take a fire hydrant and put it, further into the sidewalk, or whatever else it may be. Because I've seen a couple fire hydrants coming outside the building, which I think would be a better idea. But then again, there's tax money and a lot of work to be done because there's so many fire hydrants out here. Now that I ranted off a little bit about that, the main point that I want to talk about is churches and parking. So, I already told you about the combinations that you have to worry about, but there's even one more combination that you might have to worry about. Besides schools, which I understand public schools, but you're not allowed to park in front of churches out here in New York. Now, I'm not sure how it is in other states. Maybe in Boston or something like that, they have a similar situation, but definitely in New York, you can't park in front of a church. Now, and people literally get towed away for it. Towed or fined or whatever it is, And I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, if you think about it, these churches are inside of neighborhoods on busy streets. They're everywhere. There literally is a church on every street, and most of them are Christian churches. And there's a wide variety of religious people out here, but the majority of them are Christian churches. Now, what I understand, like say for example, you got a deli, you got a bar, whatever else on the street, let's say Fulton for example, and over here in New York, you don't really have a back area where giant trucks come in and just unload and stuff like that. Literally, they stop on the middle of the street. So when you got particular situations like delis, bars, whatever else on the main street, you have narrower streets, not too wide streets. Even if they are pretty wide, there's always a bus or something like that in the way. So I don't understand why they might not want you to park in front of them. Granted, people do, and people are allowed to park in front of them. But the reason why I understand why that people might not want to is just the simple fact that out here in New York, we don't have a back area to where you can actually go and park, a big truck and unload all the stuff. So they have to do it literally from the front door, which then inhibits a whole bunch of traffic. Now, a church doesn't have anything special going on with it where it needs a giant truck to come, and most of them are around a gate anyway, so it's not like there's actually anything getting loaded into the church. And so, granted, that's just one point. And then another thing about the church is, first of all, so we can't park in front of them. And another thing, we're all, as everyone already knows, they don't freaking pay taxes. So they're taking up, in a city where there's nothing but limited space, they're taking up, there's a bunch of them, taking up a bunch of spots. And not only are they taking up a bunch of, space around the city, but they're not paying the taxes for the city. We already have to pay taxes to go in and out of the city, like $13 just to get in the city, or just to go across a bridge that has a toll. And Brooklyn Bridge is hearing that they're going to try to put a toll on that one too. So it's just you think about it, if the church started paying taxes, maybe we could lower. There's so many of them out here, I wouldn't doubt that the tolls would go down and everything else. Maybe not, but who knows. But the other point is so they don't pay taxes, you can't park in front of them. And another thing, since I started working at a bar, there's a church not far from my bar, and we're just out of the proximity of the church to where we can have a full liquor license. Now, we have a bunch of other people who are on, I work on Classen Avenue between Leffers and Fulton, and on Fulton there's a bunch of restaurants, and there's even a hipster bar around the corner, and there's a bunch of different places like that, right? Well, there's a church literally directly across the street, on Fulton. And the problem with that is that, we had a guy come in, he's opening up a place on the corner, and he can't get a full liquor license. He really wishes he could have a full liquor license, but he can't have a full liquor license because apparently in New York City, you're not allowed to have a full liquor license within 200 feet of a church. Now, there's a problem there. The church is now dictating everything that's surrounding it. Like they have some sort of authority. The only way he could get that liquor license is if he goes to the church and asks for permission. But it's a common knowledge out here that even if you do ask for permission, that the church is not going to just be like, yeah, you can just have this, full liquor license. We condone this, okay. Either they're going to say straight up no, or if they don't say no, they're going to ask for money. It's not like they don't already ask for money as it is. They ask for money from the congregation every week. They don't pay the taxes yet again. And now they're going to ask the bar or a restaurant who wants to serve beer or, liquor, extra money on top of what they already have. They're an authority figure in the city that people are having to actually go there and ask for permission, which is absolutely ridiculous. There isn't much really else to it, and that's the simple fact. I believe that we should all, maybe find a way to get together and fix this problem. That a religious church should not dictate the surrounding environment. There's so many of them, it's ridiculous. Now, I understand if it was one section that they wanted to make for all that bullcrap, fine. One little section somewhere, but it's not just one little section. It's everywhere. And not everybody is a Christian, not everybody is a Muslim, not everybody is a Buddhist, not everybody is a Hindu. Not everybody is of a religious affiliation. And a lot of these people who go to these bars, or not bars, these churches also go into bars. So, that's kind of ridiculous. If anything, that might draw more people to the church. If there's, people get depressed and they feel like they need something, they might just go to the church. I don't know. After drinking. Who knows? But granted, I don't know what the reason or logic behind it is, but it's pretty ridiculous and stupid in my opinion. If y'all disagree, I would love to hear about it. And if you guys have any more things to say on topic of that subject matter, I would love to hear about it. Now that's about it for my video today. If you'd like to subscribe, I would love to see you do that. And also if you like my video or share it, it would be even more awesome. And I'll see y'all next time.